Hi, I'm Mary Kurek, and I am a member of St. Francis by the Sea congregation here at Salter Path, North Carolina. And we have been talking, Reverend Everett and myself have been talking, and I'm sure probably Vestry too, about how wonderful it is that we're seeing all these people that are seeing the video versions of church service on Sundays, and how we might be able to bring more people into that and eventually, hopefully, into the doors of St. Francis in Salter Path, and just creating that sense of community that's bigger than what we've experienced before, that connectedness. And so we thought the best way to do that, or the best first way to do that, would be to get to know you and let you to get to know us. And so we're doing some video interviews with some of the congregation members to let you have that sense of family and community. And so we thought the best first one to start with would be the person you should know already, who is the rector of St. Francis by the Sea, and that is Everett Thomas, who is with us now. And we're just going to have a little chat with Everett so that you can get to know him a little bit better. Those of us local know him pretty well, but those of you from far probably don't have a clue. So let's get to know him a little bit better. So Everett, thank you for being here.
Glad to be here.
Appreciate that. I think the best thing to start with is where are you from? Because this is not your home area, right?
Oh, it is.
It is, okay. It is your home area now.
I grew up in Henderson.
Oh, okay.
I did. Not that far from here. I mean, it's not far from Raleigh.
Yeah.
So I feel like Eastern North Carolina is home for me.
Yeah. Did you do like everybody else tells me that they have vacations down here when they were younger or something, and you knew of the place?
I really didn't come to the beach. We went to the beach once a year, but not to this beach. We usually went to Myrtle Beach. So I came here later in life, when I retired, and came to see Francis by the Sea. And
wow.
I loved it. It's home for me now.
Yes, it is. It is, and we're glad of it.
Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about, the start of your academic world, your academic life. Did you start into the ministry when you were young, or did you start somewhere else and then get into the ministry from there?
Gosh, ministry was what I grew up with. My father was a Baptist minister, and so I grew up in many churches, all in North Carolina. But was fascinated in my own way, a way different from my father, and different parts of ministry. I was at School of Pastoral Care at North Carolina Baptist Hospital for a lot of years, and thought that would be the ministry that I would have. I was there about 15 years. It was really important to me, but I felt more and more that I was being called into parish ministry. I wanted to have that kind of long-term relationships with people that was made possible in the parish, not just to see them for a while and then they were gone out of my life. Yeah, and so that's part of how I ended up in ministry. When I became 65 years old and was ready to retire, I knew there was just no way I could do that. There was too much left for me to do, too much energy, too much excitement about ministry, and that I hadn't had all I really wanted. And so I talked with the Bishop of East Carolina about the possibility of doing something that would be part-time. And that's when he talked about St. Francis by the Sea might be an option. It was smaller than it is now, but still very, very wonderful. And the greatest joy of my life has been to be part of this community.
You bring up a point, and I've heard these stories. I think I've been a member there for about 10 years. For those who don't know, I met him in a yoga class, okay?
That's right.
How awesome is that? Yeah, well, we all need some yoga in our lives, don't we? But the story of how St. Francis actually began in the living room or something of a couple of the members now. Tell us a little bit about that.
It was begun in Scott Shelton's living room in Atlantic Beach. Yeah, and with Grace and Skip Kemp and a couple more. And they just wanted to develop a church that would be a church for people at the beach. And it really is that. If you haven't been to St. Francis, you have, I know, Mary, but it's a very casual place. It's a beach church. And everything about it is very, very comfortable. And so what they hoped has certainly come true. Yeah.
I believe that. Did it start out as an Episcopal church, or
yes,
did it?
Yes,
okay.
they started from nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty
That's
amazing.
fantastic.
Yeah.
For those who've never been, I think the thing that hits you when you come in is its openness, not just in the building, but in the people. And when we say we all are welcome, we mean it. You are welcome if you come in flip-flops and shorts. You are welcome.
And it's fine.
No matter what
It's fine.
it does not matter. We are all welcome. And I think what struck me is the how the church embraces the artistic community and makes a place for it. And so on the island, when there's so little of that sort of thing that you can grab hold of, there's plenty of retail and things to do as far as activities, but to be able to come to a place, a church, where the whole bottom floor is a beautiful art gallery that, and when I say that, it's not stuffy. That's where we do our coffee hours. So we lay out food and people can wander around and see. Sometimes there's fair trade items there because we have that relationship, but there's oftentimes artwork from people who are locals, and it's not just paintings or something. It might be something more kinesthetic, if you will, the hands-on. But
well, I'm just amazed at that gallery. I started it because I love art myself.
Yeah.
And I feel it's very powerful. But as much as I love art, I love artists. And I've hung out with them for a long time. And I know that artists need a place to be too. They need a place for their work to be seen. Mm-hmm. And so I felt like it was both a ministry to us and a ministry to the artists. And so we have had an art show every month for 12 years. And that's pretty amazing. It has become, a regular place of showing art in this county. And we do a lot to befriend artists and have meetings for them, things like that. Yeah.
I think it's really neat. I'm not an artist per se, but I know even one time you allowed some of the local, congregation members to whatever they had if you wanted to show it. And I was able to do that. And I thought, wow, how impressed I was with.
Although we have had shows.
To do that, I'm not even an artist, but so it doesn't matter if you are showing in some gallery in New York City or you're just here local.
We're not really for that. We have had some of that, but that's not what we're really about. We're really about more local people looking for a place to show what they have and unusual things like what you were talking about.
Yeah, and I think what's really cool about the video services that we're doing is it's showing not just that aspect of who we are and that we can do a proper service and still bring you in as if you are sitting right there, because the quality of the video is so good. But also the music. I'm going to have the privilege of interviewing Craig Everett, also, and bringing his story to people. But he's our chief music guy.
Oh, yes.
And production guy,
yes.
if you with the virtual services. And the music he chooses and the people, the handful of people that are there that are singing, and sometimes solos and sometimes not, extraordinary, I think. And so that just goes to show that this is a community of artists, whether they're proper artists out there, getting money for what they're doing, or just people who have that talent and who want to give in the name of the Lord, and just get that out there. But I think that's fantastic.
So we have the gallery. We also do a lot with poetry.
Yes.
Thanks that Peter McCook was a part of our congregation for a long time and wrote some beautiful things for us and helped us to be more oriented to that. And to Penn Perry, the director of Trinity Center, also a poet who reads as well.
It's beautiful. And I know, you often, and we had actually, Peter's poem was set to music, and Robin Smith, who does a gorgeous job with her voice, utilizing it to portray, Peter's words fantastic. And I noticed you did that in the last service. You read his poem. Do you remember the first line of it, by the way? am I calling you down on something? Every time he paints such a beautiful picture of this area. I mean, it just brings together, the Lord and
it wasn't intended as a poem about this area.
Yeah. Maritime forests, the glide of the herons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just love it.
But it's the best description I know of the area. It
is beautiful. So talk to us about the Labyrinth and how that came about, because that ties into also your love of all things.
Well, I think the Labyrinth was about my interest in helping people to find sacred spaces and quiet spaces where they could be alone and feel and think and consider their lives. And a labyrinth is just a great place for that you can go there, and people go there all time of the day and night. And it's off to itself, and we are always welcoming of anyone to go. No one needs to check in with us. They can just go from the parking lot down to the labyrinth and walk it and be quiet and be thankful or grateful or whatever.
People who don't know what a labyrinth is, can you share?
It's a circular path that you enter and then walk all the way around and around and around to the center, and then walk back. And maybe it takes 30 minutes or so, or as long as you need it to be. But it's a time to be alone and to think, maybe to pray.
I think that to me, the use of that is your mind is doing something that it needs to pay attention to, so that it's not doing everything else. And it gives space for that soul rest, if you will, that healing to happen. So it gives that space for that to happen. That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. I'm really proud of our church. I think that we offer something that very few churches I've ever seen did. And honestly, when I came to St. Francis, I was hopping. I was around in different churches. I had grown up Methodist and had tried a Lutheran church. I'd tried different churches around. The fit was not there. The moment I walked into St. Francis and sat down, I felt this overwhelming, I don't know, just I fit, I belong. This is it. This is where I need to be.
Okay, here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, it is. It just feels good. What would you tell people that are hearing you, seeing you right now about the church and how they would fit as part of the community and that connectedness from them being so far away?
Well, it's a very unusual church in that we are right on the beach and right in the middle of a lot of people who don't live here but have property here. And those people mix in with the locals, and that's what our parish is. So we are just composed of many people from many places all over the Southeast. And so having a ministry to them is important too. How you go about befriending, welcoming, and also maintaining over a long time a relationship with a person who doesn't live here. But I do that actually every day, in that I live in Brandywine in Morehead City, and it's on a golf course. And there are geese on this golf course that I love, and I look for them to be, and they go and come. And when they go and I go for a day and can't see them on my bike ride, I miss them. And when they finally come back, it's a happy time for me. And I hope that we can be the kind of church that creates that kind of place for cottagers who are coming to their other home for a time of relaxation. So a kind of second family for them.
That's fantastic. I definitely feel like that comes across to people who visit. And hopefully they get that feeling by watching the services as well. So Reverend Everett, the website for St. Francis is?
St. Francis by the Sea.
www.stfrancisbythesea.org, right?
.org. Mm-hmm.
.org. Okay. Yeah. So if they want more information, they can kind of check that out. And And stay tuned to this channel because we're going to be doing other interviews with congregation members and maybe people that you even know, maybe people you don't know that you'd like to get to know. So join us because we're a very, very welcoming community and we'd like to have you be part of that community. So thank you, Reverend Everett. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Okay, so
Hey, Mary.
wait a minute. We are